let's talk about one of the most important things to your performance in handball, but also in any sport, I believe, and that is the warm-up. And if you're an OG follower of Ciana on any social media platform, you will know how strongly I feel about the warm-up and how strongly I feel about the fact that handballers do not warm up, okay? And just so you know, warming up like this, it's not warming up, okay? You're not warm, you're not ready to go. So we're gonna go through a warm-up that you can do anywhere. I often will warm up in the dressing room before I go into the court. And one of the main things is you should feel warm before you grab that handball and start throwing it around. So the first thing we wanna do when we warm up is get the heart rate up. So that can be done in a very simple way. It can be jogging around, it can be running up and down, it could be a bit of side shuffling, it could be side to side, it might be doing some burpees, you know, but it doesn't have to be super intense. It can be like a light jog to start, just to get the body like, oh, we're actually going to do something, get the blood flowing and get the heart pumping a bit more. Two things that I advise any handballer to have in their handball bag, you don't need to have them, but they can be helpful. Those are a skipping rope and a band, okay? We'll come back to the band later. To start, we can use a skipping rope a very easy way. We all know how hard it is to work out by just skipping, but it's a very easy way. It takes minimal space to just get the heart rate going, get the body moving. So the heart rate is up. I barely did like 2 minutes and my heart rate is up. I would say like around 5 minutes for this, maybe a little longer if we're combining the skipping and some of the other movements. Next, we're gonna get the muscles firing, okay? And this is tough. Okay, with handball, we are using the whole body, but we are using obviously a lot the shoulders, and then we want to be able to get low with the lower body as well while rotating. So those are the things we're going to think about. If we have our band, a couple of exercises that we can use to get the shoulders ready to go with, it can be a thin band as well. I actually advise a thin band for the upper body especially, is starting with banded dislocates. If you're following our other videos, you'll have seen these ones before. We can go into some banded pull aparts. So band is out in front and just think about pulling that band to your chest while scapula is coming together at the back. And you can even think about pinching a pencil in between your shoulder blades at the back. Then we'll go into W pull aparts and elbows are tight by your side. We're working on that external rotation of the shoulder, nice and controlled with everything that we're doing. And just a disclaimer on this, I would do about 10 for each, do 2 sets on these. So you could run to those 3 things again. Let's say you don't have a band, you're like, Ciana, what am I gonna do? I'm like, you can't warm up. No, I'm joking. You can use body weight. Am I in frame? All right, so we could do some inchworms. I hate them, but they're very good to warm up. You're gonna walk out and then walk your feet into your hands. Second one we can do, which is quite a similar movement, but just less moving, we can get plank shoulder taps. This is working the core, keeping the hip steady, and also working the shoulder and keeping us steady in this position. Frida, give me a mat. Okay, you don't need a mat, but the floor is quite dirty. Last body weight one we can do, well not we can do, but that I'll show you, is prone swimmers. So with this, you can get your head down on the ground, and then you're gonna have hands overhead and bring them around the back. This is a lot harder than it looks. Shoulders should be nice and warm. Next, we're going to think about the lower body. What's a movement we always have to do in handball? So many lunges, all right? So we're going to do some lunges to warm up. We can just start with some reverse lunges, touch your knee off the ground if you can, and then step back up. We can do 5 on each side. We're going to do lateral lunges because we're also a lot of the time getting into this position. So we're going to sit down into that as much as we can and come back to your starting position. So with our lunges, we're working quads, glutes. We want to think about hamstrings. Third one we're going to do here, single leg RDLs. So you're going to load up one leg, soft bend the knee. If you're struggling with balance, you can hold on to a wall or something. And then we're going to hinge at the hip and we should fire up the back of our leg here. The third thing we want to think about is rotation through the trunk. So for this, we're actually going to have to move, okay? But we're going to need our band. Follow me, Frida. So we're going to anchor our band around something. I've often done this around the, I don't know how to describe it, the benches in dressing rooms. Just tied the band around it. So tie it around anything, like a door handle or something. you can have someone hold it if you don't have anything. So what we're going to do here, and the heavier the band, the harder it'll be, but you're going to get 2 feet side by side, soft bend the knee, and then get a nice extension here, and then powerful on the way out. Another option is the same movement but in a split stance. I like to do this one because it's similar to how we're going to stand a lot of time when we hit the ball, but we're just going to load it up in the same way, drive through the hips to extend those arms out in front. Where a lot of people go wrong with the warm-up is they start doing loads of stretching and then they go in and they start hitting the ball. Stretching before we play can be helpful if we make it dynamic, okay? But we want to get the heart rate up, activate things like we just have, and then we're going to go into our mobility. So everything is nice and warm, and now we're going to move into some ranges that are going to help us feel good when we're on the court. So we're just going to do 3 that will be helpful for anyone. We're going to start by focusing on the hips. We're starting with the legs in a 90-90 position, which is why it's called hips 90-90. And then you're rotating over to the other side. Then we're going on to the world's greatest stretch. I did not name it that, just so you know. That's what it's called. So we're coming down with this low lunge position. We're already feeling a stretch here, but this one's actually going to work our rotation. So you're going to bring your elbow down to the ground. Can I get it down? No. And then you're going to rotate up towards the ceiling, taking nice deep breaths as we move through this. And we can do 3 to 5 reps on each side. And lastly, you'll notice with these there's a lot of rotating because we rotate a lot when we play handball. All right, so we're going to come down on the ground, get hands out wide, and we're doing a dynamic scorpion. So bring in leg over the back and then move over to the other side. So we're not holding anything for too long. We're just getting the body moving and feeling good. Last one is the best one. Now we actually make things a bit more intense, and you're like, that wasn't intense enough. No, it wasn't. Okay, we finish by doing some more specific movements, things that are closer to game intensity. So we're going to go into some jumps and then some light footwork drills, and these are just some that you can do, but obviously there's endless types of jumping that we could do, endless footwork drills, but these are ones that I like to include, and they help me feel ready when I do grab that handball afterwards. Is that enough? Whoa, now I feel warm. So some people might have seen all this. They might be listening to my breath right now, and they might think that's a bit much before I even go into play. But I could talk about the warm-up. We'll definitely make more videos on this. But not only physically, but mentally. The warm-up is your opportunity to get locked in. Bye-bye. And to focus on what you're about to do. It also can give you confidence in knowing, like, my body's ready to go. I don't need the first few points to get into it to see how I'm feeling. I know that I'm ready to go. My body has been prepping for the last 20 to 30 minutes even, and I can start strong. So there's a lot to be gained from taking 15-20 minutes before your game to get warmed up. And that's both physically and mentally. And a little side note, obviously we do want to use the ball in our warm-up as well, but it is after I do these things, then I'll grab the handball and I'm going into the handball court. And I'm using that time just to throw the ball on each shot, overhand, underarm, sidearm, to hit some returns, to kind of get my eye in, my touch in with those things. But it's not about now I'm getting the heart rate up. You know, I already feel like I'm ready to go, and that's just the last 5-10 minutes. Because a lot of the time we don't get much time in the court before we have to go. We're waiting for the last game to finish. We now have 5-10 minutes to get going. So it's not enough time to really feel ready. Subscribe, like, and save, and do it in your next handball game.